Welcome everybody. Now today I want to talk about trash. Trash is something that we all have to deal with, no matter where we live. You live in the city, you gotta deal with trash. You live out here in rural boonies, you gotta deal with trash. It's a little different between the two places. Just a little. If you live in the city, your trash is probably handled by the city. They likely hire the trash collectors and provide their vehicles and things like that, and you pay for it through your taxes. It's not a separate bill. It's just a line item in your tax bill. But if you live out here, we don't have those big cities, and the county doesn't take care of it. It's just you have to hire it out to private companies, and we have those. And so it's just another bill you pay. So the other real difference, this is mostly coming from LA experience, is that trash here is handled more like it was there when we first moved there, for the first half of the time that we lived there. Which is, you own your own trash cans, you put them out on the curb, they empty them out, you bring them back in. And if you move, those trash cans go with you, they're your property. Now, around 1990 in LA, probably in a lot of other cities too, they changed that. They started to issue you trash receptacles. You had these really large bins, probably yay wide, about that tall too. Big, whole lot of stuff. With wheels, plastic things. One for regular trash, one for yard clippings. At first, a sort of rectangular bucket for recyclables. It was yellow, about yay tall, and about that wide. But eventually also a container for recyclables when they realized how much paper everybody had that they had to throw out. So you had all three of those. Those were issued to the address. They stayed with the address. If you moved, you left them there. If you moved to someplace else in LA, you would inherit the trash cans that belonged to that place. And that was how it worked from then on. Likely still works that way today. Doubt there's been much change. So, when you have that, it's just a little bit different. You no longer own your trash cans. You don't have all these weird, varying different types. But that's how it works out here, though. Everybody owns their own receptacles, and they put them out and bring them back in. They're yours. So, yeah. So that's one little difference. But the main difference is what we do, especially in unincorporated areas like this, with some of our bulkier trash. Specifically, yard waste, like lawn clippings, branches, things like that, and paper, cardboard, those types of things. Those things it is legal here to burn. So we do. At least a lot of us do. And to do so, we have a burn barrel. Like this. Rusty old metal barrel. It's been sitting out here for some time, and that's what we use. It's a metal barrel. You take the lid out, and get rid of it, and cut the bottom out. You can see well, you can't really see it. It's on cinder blocks, and it's got a rack underneath it, like a old charcoal grill rack or something along those lines, to hold the stuff in. It's up on the cinder blocks to help the airflow. It's a lot like what they had at about the same time in LA. They put in an ordinance that you couldn't use charcoal lighter fluid, and it's a lot like what you would use to start charcoal after that. Is a cylinder, a handle on it. This doesn't have a handle, bigger. It had some slots in it to help the airflow, and underneath there was a grill and a spot in the bottom where you'd stuff in like balled up newspaper and light that up, and it would burn and ignite the charcoals at the bottom, and it would work its way up, and when they started to get gray on the top, you were good. Poured them into your grill, you were ready to go. Worked well. I liked it a lot because it got rid of the charcoal lighter fluid taste on your grilled food, so it was a good thing. And yeah, this works in much the same way. It's raised up off the air on cinder blocks to aid with airflow. So that kind of like a chimney. It burns that stuff up quite well. Now, it used to be that you could burn just about anything in an unincorporated area, but yeah, they've cracked down on that. At the very least, at the very latest, with 2012, you can only really burn what I mentioned before: paper, wood, cardboard, lawn clippings, branches, things like that. And it's probably a good thing. Now, the first couple of years that we lived here, we did burn like plastic grocery bags and things like that. But Dad put a stop to that after a couple of years. He was the one who was doing it, and he didn't want to breathe in those chemicals. It didn't ultimately save his life, but I'm sure that smoking for 55 years didn't help the matters any. But yeah, and I follow that. I don't burn anything but paper and stuff. It's all it's legal now anyway. But nobody would know. But I just don't do it because it's a bad idea. It's bad for the environment. It's bad for your lungs. It's not really good to even breathe in the fumes from wood or anything like that. But we do it. Breathing in smoke of any kind is bad for you. So yeah, I try and stay away from the thing when it's burning, but I do it. So that's how that works. I am going to show you how it works. So I've already put in all my paper, cardboard products, things like that. I've got here one little extra to start it. It's a rolled up microwave popcorn bag. Great freaking thing for that. Works really well. it's paper. It has oil in it. This thing will burn. This is a great wick. I got a bunch more of them in there. It's like my preferred snack. When Dad did pass away last year, I was getting pretty heavy, and I decided to stop with the chips and things like that and switch to popcorn. One of these bags is like 350 calories. It's nothing compared to like any size bag of chips. A standard size bag of chips that is about 1,300 calories. So yeah, it's quite a difference switching to this. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to light it up. I'm going to torch that thing up a little bit better. There we go. That's fire right there. All right, it's going in. Okay, it's caught. Yeah, you don't want to do it on too windy of a day because it'll blow it out. Last year, I actually had a little incident with it. A little bit of it got out. Something was kind of hanging over, a little bit of cardboard. Fell out. Fell into the grass there. Burned up, caught a little bit of it on fire. But I was here to stomp it out, and that's the thing. You have to be there watching the fire. It's fire. It is dangerous. You don't just walk away from it. You pay attention to it. Now this isn't very full. I was only maybe 2/3 of the way full on the thing, so it's not going to be that big of a problem. But you can see the flames are kicking up, and this is what we do. This is what we do with our paper and other stuff. Just get rid of some of the bulk in our trash. You light it on fire. And so here it is. Now, from here, I'm going to talk to you about what happens if you don't watch it and you aren't paying attention when it kicks up and burns and things fall out. This next section is an interlude that I recorded earlier. I mentioned it in there too. And yeah, so I'm going to be here watching this, and you will be watching the interlude, and we will see how this goes when it's over. So off we go over that way. So here we are at the story time. There's always a story time with me. Just gotta get one out every time. So for full disclosure here, this was filmed before the rest of the video. It would be very irresponsible and hypocritical of me to not point that out based on the context of what I am talking about here. So yeah. Story time. Now my neighbors over here, these two very darkly sided buildings, charcoal grade, almost black siding on them. They are not the original neighbors that lived in that place when we were building this and when we moved in. The original neighbors moved out. That sat empty for quite a little bit of time before these people moved in. In fact, the closer building, the pole building, I have one too. I will actually do a video on just pole buildings at some point, but it deserves its own thing. It's newer. The last people did not have that. The new ones built that 4 or 5 years ago, at the most, after they moved in. So yeah, you can also see my neighbor's barn back here. That'll come in important eventually to this story. So yeah, these people were not the original owners. The original owners, when we moved here, actually before we moved here and for the first few years afterward, it was a couple, may have been married, maybe not, I don't know. I wasn't close to them, so I didn't pry into their living situation. But the man who lived there was a carpet installer, and he would burn carpet remnants. Now, as of 2012 at the latest, that's illegal in Michigan. Anywhere, even in unincorporated areas, you cannot open air burn textiles or hazardous chemicals, and carpet has both. So, yeah, there's a lot of glue in there. It burns really hot. You might be able to see where this is going. He would burn them in his burn barrel out there. 2 times. Once while we were building this place, and once again, maybe 2 or 3 years later after we'd moved in. He was burning his carpet remnants out in his barrel and went inside, I suppose, or something, stopped watching the burn barrel. Number 1 rule that I talk about over there, and that I am still doing while you were watching this little interlude that I recorded earlier. You watch the thing that you're burning. You just do. It's just good advice. It can get very, very dangerous very quickly. He lit all this stuff on fire. The first time, he went quite a ways back, over even in here, quite a ways back behind our property, and burned up quite a bit of stuff. Lots of weeds, lots of wild grass, lots of shrubbery, brush, and just all kinds of things. It burned it all up. And the second time, after we had finished the house and moved in, he did it again. He actually did it again. He left it unattended, and it caught everything on fire once again, just a few years later at the most. And that burnt even more, and it went over this way toward that barn. That is a 100-year-old or more now barn made of old wood. If the flame had gotten to that thing, I mentioned in another video that she has renovated that, and she was sort of maybe in the early processes of it at that time. It wasn't done yet. If the flame had gotten to that thing, it would have went up like nothing. There would have been no saving it. It would have just completely torched. It would have been gone in no time flat. It's old wood. It burns like it might as well be soaked in gasoline. It's really bad. It was bad. And eventually after that, he moved out. But, not before taking out all the goldenrod and the cattail reeds and everything else that's back there a couple different times. But yeah, it was a bad situation. And that is why you watch what you're doing. Now, again, that what he was doing would be illegal now. I mentioned in the septic system video that we have a volunteer fire department. In fact, I mentioned it a few times, but I mentioned in that one that they mostly get called out for car accidents. There's a really bad intersection up here. I might do a video on that. It'd be a little tricky to film, but I could probably manage. Do a little location shoot away from my property. That'd be kind of nice. Give you mix it up a little bit. It's a bad intersection. It's really blind, and if I do that video, I'll show you exactly how. But there's a lot of accidents there, and I think they get called out there more often than they get called out to fires. But those 2 times, I did get to see them come out and put out fires, and they did. So yeah, there's your lesson here. If you are going to burn, keep an eye on it. Be around. It's just better. It's better than trying to burn up the whole neighborhood. So yeah, that's what that is. All right, back to the burning, and we are back, still going. As you can see, I didn't have it away for very long. I decided to stay here, watch your fire. It's just a good idea. Bad for like a bunch of popcorn bags and pizza boxes and things like that. You get more. I don't do this very often. I can't fill one of these things up very fast. It takes me a couple months at least to make enough trash to fill that up. But yeah, I did it. So when I did burn that up, like I said, maybe about 1 square foot. I was right there to stomp it out, because you need to do that. Probably should carry a bucket with water, just so you can see the ash flying off that thing. That's how it goes. Going right in the smoke. Bad for you. Just so happens to be blowing right this way. Here, let's move this. You can take a look inside. See how that's burnt down? And it's down to nothing. Doesn't take very long. Fires like that, flammable material and fire burns right up. And now it's safe. And you can walk away. I always remember to watch it, and before you walk away. Don't walk away while it's still going. It's still got flames shooting out the top. That's bad. Don't do that. So yeah, that's what we do out here. It's about the end of the thing. I want to thank you all for watching. There's all that stuff you can do at the bottom. If you live in a rural place and you burn things and stuff, let me know what your process is like. Maybe if you live out west though, and you live in a rural place where open burning like this is banned because it might start a wildfire, maybe don't comment on it. Maybe don't admit to committing a crime down in the comments of some random guy's YouTube channel. That probably wouldn't be a good idea. But other than that, yeah, if you want to talk about it, talk about it. And that's about it. Again, thank you all for watching. I hope this taught you something, or maybe entertained you a little bit. And I hope that you all have the best possible day that you can have. And I will see you soon. Take care.